Hello, everyone, and welcome to the After Show Korea episode number 4. In this episode, we will be discussing episodes 7 and 8 of the Korean drama Big. My name is Kelvin, and with me is my regular co-host, Steven.
Hey, guys.
Please keep in mind that in discussing these episodes, there will be spoilers for everything up to episode 8, so please go watch the show first if you mind spoilers.
Also, as a reminder, we didn't want this podcast to be just a recap show. There are some great recap websites out there, of course, like Drama Beans, which we use every single time we want to write our 19-page script. What we do is that we pick scenes that we either liked or disliked, and we arrange them in chronological order so that it's easier to follow. We do apologize if any of your favorite scenes are missing, but we try and hit as many scenes as we can. Now, Kelvin and I would like to thank all the people that listened to our first 3 episodes, and of course the ones listening now. We also want to thank all the people, we got a lot more this time, of people who commented on our website, liked us on Facebook, and followed us on Twitter. So if you haven't done that, please do that after you listen to this, of course. So without further ado, let's get started in our discussion of episodes 7 and 8 of Big.
So episode 7 starts out with Mari hugging Kyungju. She pretty much realized after episode 6 that Yoon-jae is actually Kyungjun. And I didn't really like this scene because right after she hugs him, she faints. And I was like, WTF, what the fuck? They could have, made the scene more interesting by addressing the problem here instead of kind of just dodging it.
Right, like at the end of episode 6, you're like, oh, snap, this is going to be great because she's going to find out there's going to be confrontation. And then she faints, and then Darang's brother shows up and further ruins the, severity of that scene.
Yeah, which I thought it was kind of stupid. But it did have a good scene where Chung-sik comes in and then pretty much gets a crotch kick from Mari.
Yeah, Marty shows up like, surprise, ball kick.
Yeah, so, that was pretty funny. And then there's this one line that Kyungjun says, which was, women can't really understand how much this hurts. And I was thinking, dude, women give birth. That's probably way, way, way more painful than just getting kicked in the crotch. It's probably like passing a marble through our penis or something. But
Which, anyways. By the way, have you heard of passing stones? And how painful that is? That's actually
kidney stones?
Yeah, I've heard that hurts like crazy. But yeah. Giving birth is different than getting kicked because it's not like you're just like, I'm going to make you give birth now, to a girl and have them suffer through that pain, dude. Right? That is 9 months of preparation, and they have drugs for that shit,
Still, I'm pretty sure that's okay, never mind. Whatever. I'm pretty sure it hurts like a bitch.
Well, oh, no, it is. There's no denying it hurts like a bitch. I'm not saying it doesn't hurt like a bitch, and I'm very glad that I'm not a woman because of that. But I'm just trying to say that, girls can kick you in the balls at any time they want, right?
That's true.
And you can't be like, pregnant, have a baby, you know what I mean? You don't have a baby gun to
A baby gun?
Yeah, like a pregger gun. So, that's kind of different. But, if you hit a girl in the boobs, whatever, I'm sure it hurts equally as much, where it's just, hitting anybody hurts. But I guess it's something that they just don't understand. But enough about balls, since most of our viewers are women, or listeners are women. This is just a shout out to you girls. Don't kick guys in the balls. It really hurts. Just slap him in the face. Right?
Yeah.
Slap
go
him
for
in
the face slap.
Yeah, go for the face slap. Go for some chest hitting, but leave that area. Only good things can happen to that area. Not bad things. But anyways, after that scene, Mari wakes up and stuff like that, and she wants to talk to Kyungjun, but she was bleeding from the previous scene in episode 6, right?
Yep.
And so Kyung-jun is like holding her away with a finger because he's still afraid of blood, as we talked about last episode, right? And
it's really stupid.
Yeah, it's so dumb. And it pops up again later, and we'll talk about it. But it was really, really cute because Mari is like, okay, I know you're scared, so I'm going to hide behind this couch. And, this is just one of the scenes I want to mention. This is like the prerequisite, like, Suzy is cute scenes. So, but it was also a good scene because Mari was like, I promise to keep the secret, which she kind of breaks later on. But at this point, it was like,
well, she tries to break, but she hasn't broke it yet.
That's true. But it was kind of annoying to me a little bit because, like we had just said, we thought there'd be this big,
confrontation.
Yeah, a confrontation when she found out. But she kind of accepted it pretty fast.
Yeah,
it's like,
pretty easy going about it. It's like, oh, that makes sense. Body switching works, and okay, done.
Yeah, but, it's a drama, so I guess just got to go with it.
Just got to agree with it. All right, so the next scene was another scene I didn't really like, and it was when Daran was agreeing to Kyung-jun to be by his side and kind of fake a relationship. And once she agreed, Kyung-jun just became a huge dick and was just making her clean and do all the chores and stuff. I just didn't really like Kyung-jun's character there.
Well, his reasoning, his quote-unquote reasoning was that, I don't want to be too nice to you because then you'll fall back in love with Yoon Jae face, right?
Yeah, that's true, but
Gong Yu. But I mean, you say he's a dick now, but like this is exactly the same type of dude who wouldn't pick up an umbrella for a girl in the beginning.
Yeah, but he's a dick. So
back then you were like, oh, he was not a dick. That makes total
I didn't
sense.
say he wasn't a dick.
That makes total sense for someone to do that.
Yes,
I would do that.
It makes total sense, but like you said, it makes sense that he doesn't want him to, or want Daran to fall in love with the Yoon Jae face again, right?
Right.
But he's a dick move. It's a dick move, so.
Well, it's also a drama move because then they are allowed to keep bickering, which is kind of, those are actually my favorite scenes. And the drama is when they're just having fun bickering with each other.
Yeah, it's more casual and natural.
Yeah, so it was just kind of at least they gave a reason. It wasn't a good reason, right? But at least they gave a reason for them to keep bickering with each other, which was, I'm going to keep treating you like poop so that you don't accidentally fall in love again, even though he really doesn't treat her, that bad at all.
Yeah, he's still in love with her.
Yeah. So the next scene that I did not like.
This episode doesn't start very well for us.
It was a scene where Mari shows up and she gives Kyung-jun like a little fan of his face. and it started out a really cute scene, where it was like, this is for me, this is for Dara. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
And they're bickering back and forth, and then she just goes straight in and is like, "Give me some of that," and she just
going
kisses
you
him
kiss,
on
man.
the lips. I know, she was like, "I want that. I'm gonna take that," and she kisses him, and it's like, and it was kind of nothing. It was just like, "Oh, you're not gonna change back into the body like in a fairy tales," and I was like, "What? What was the point of that?"
She's still young. I mean. She thought, like you said, the fairy tale, the prince or the frog and the prince type of thing. If you kiss him, he might change back. So
yeah, because we all definitely still believe that when we're like 16.
Well, she believed the body switching.
That makes more sense than
his body's. Oh, whatever.
More sense than fairy tale. Anyways,
whatever, dude.
But the problem with that scene was just that I feel like it was just there just so that they could promote, the fact that Gong Yu kisses Suzy. Yeah. And it was just kind of straight out of nowhere. And also, Suzy, you are so cute, but what the fuck was that mini hat you were wearing on the side of your head? I don't know if you remember. Cute? It was, no, that was not cute. That single thing was like, okay, Suzy, you
clearly you don't know fashion.
Clearly, I don't know fashion, I guess, to have weird mini hats like you're a weird puppet, like on the side of your head. But anyway, so yeah, that was a quick scene, but it was just something that was kind of like just for advertisements, It didn't really, it wasn't even, there wasn't
really
even
move the script or the story along very much.
Yeah. So anyways, the next big scene that I wanted to talk about was, because finally Darang agreed to meet Yoon Jae's mom, right?
Yep.
So Darang and Kyung-jun are at like a tea shop, or I guess it's
they're actually meeting again.
Right, like they had met previously when it was still Yoon Jae, right?
Yeah.
But so Darang is like remembering this nice memory of her being super nervous and real Yoon Jae is like holding her hand, kind of showing some cute little love. But then Gyeongjun remembers that he needs to be a dick, so he's like, no, you don't get to be warmed up by tea. You don't get any of this happiness,
Well, what a dick.
Yeah, but that makes sense because he's jealous, right? I mean, that really wasn't, I guess, super dicky. It was just he
super dicky.
Yeah, he just didn't want her to, think of Yoonjae. He wants her to be with him at the moment, And then, of course, there's this scene where Yoonjae's mom orders, some super crazy, juicy, rare steak.
Yeah.
And, of course, Gyeongjun is scared of blood again, even though later on he says that it's okay if it's meat. I don't know if you remember this.
It was white meat, though. It's a little different. White meat doesn't have as much blood. But, I mean, it's pretty stupid as well.
Yeah, anyways, and, of course, Darang, stands up for him and is like, get that meat out of his face, I
really like that scene. She actually stood up for him. She doesn't really do that very often.
Yeah, and it was nice. I mean, she stood up for Gyeongjun, not Yoonjae. But the thing is, she should by now. I mean, why? I think I've already forgotten that there was a year jump. Because seriously, nothing has really changed in that year jump, right?
Right.
In episode that happened at the end of episode 5, right? And within 20 minutes, it was that didn't
back
even
to
happen.
Normal.
Yeah, it was just back to normal. So she should be standing up for him, and so I did like that. I did like that she did it. But of course,
I think Yoonjae's mom is pretty terrible of a mother. If your son doesn't like steak, you don't just kind of force feed him with it. So.
Well, I mean, you have to think of it from her perspective, which is the son that she knew is gone, right? And usually when in real life you lose all your memory, you try to stimulate that memory with things that you previously loved, right?
Yeah.
And also, kind of, we both have Asian mothers. I do think our mothers are very different, but I mean, my mom kind of forces me to do a lot of things I don't want to do, that's just kind of how it works,
I don't think my mom would force me steak if I didn't like it, so.
That's I don't like eating veggies, or whatever.
That's different, though. Veggies is good for you. Steak, you can, skip for another type of meat.
I mean, I guess, but if it was your favorite thing and then all of a sudden the next week it wasn't your favorite thing, But
the thing is, he was in America for a year. He's rejecting it for a year. He should, or she should get the idea as you know what, maybe he's changed now and just accept it.
Well, I agree. I mean, it was mainly just to show that scene of Darang standing up for him. I mean,
that's true. That's true.
Yes, in real life. Oh, I mean, we got to refrain from saying in real life because none of this makes any goddamn sense in real life, But it was a good scene. I did like it. And then, of course, Gyeongjun, takes her hand. They storm out because he's this time I'm going to hold her close and leave, instead of asking her to suck it up and, be respectful to you, right?
Yep.
And as they're running out, they have that, he
kiss.
pushes her up against the wall and they get super face-to-face close, And, of course, it was one of those oh, no, they might kiss. But, of course, it was Gyeongjun kind of
planning it out.
Yeah, he's oh, it's just for show for his mother,
Still very awkward.
Well, I mean, that's the whole point. The whole point is oh, are they going to kiss? Oh, she likes it, that kind of stuff. I mean.
Yeah.
All right. The next scene, real quick, is Mari and Chong Shik, which I still don't really know how to pronounce, but that's Darang's brother. They go to this, I guess, shaman or whatever, this black voodoo magic lady for help. And I mean, this scene I don't really get at all. I understand it's supposed to be a parody of a moon embracing the sun, which was a really, really big drama, which I have not seen.
I think it has the OST playing too in the background.
Yeah, that's the one with the Dream High guy, but. Since we didn't watch that, neither of us, it was just kind of this weird scene where it was why are you here?
Mm-hmm.
So I didn't really like that it was there. But I guess that's, since
I guess
it was
we'll probably have to check it out, the moon embracing the sun drama.
Yeah, I have it all on my computer. I just have never had time. Because, neither of us are really big on historical dramas,
Yeah.
So I have been very hesitant to check it out, even though I've heard it was really, really good.
But if it's one of the best, we should, give it a chance.
Yeah, I mean, if we have time, if we
Very
have time.
true. Anyway, so the next scene, it's with Daran and Gyeongjun, and they're sitting outside in the yard, in the patio, and they're just discussing Gyeongjun's scared of, or fear of blood. And thought Daran was really cute because she's like eating the squid with the gochujang, and in the end, once Daran hears a story, she's like, "Do you want some?" And he's like, "No, it's dirty with the gochujang, right?"
He doesn't like spicy stuff or something.
Yeah, the spicy red pepper paste, and she licks it up and then like tries to feed it back to him and stuff.
Well, I mean, you also have to remember that she was like tipsy drunk, again. And
she drinks a lot.
And tipsy drunk Darang is still the cutest thing ever, because, she acts really childish.
Yeah.
And then, of course, Gyeong-joon kind of trolls her, and says like, "Oh no, that squid is like a year old, right?" And he's like, "Quickly throw it up!" And he's like, "Stick out your tongue!" And she like sticks out her tongue in like the cutest ways ever.
Yeah, and he's like move it up and down, left and right, and all that kind of stuff. Just basically makes her look like a fool.
Yeah, which she's a cute
awesome.
fool. She's a cute fool. I really like scenes like this because it's just them having fun together. It's not all that crazy drama baggage,
right?
And I liked it.
So the next scene was I don't know why he went back to the hospital, but he's just going back to Gyeong-joon goes to the hospital acting all confident, and he's saying like, "Okay, I'm gonna get over the fear of blood and stuff," right? And there's all these camera angles that make him look like a beast and everything, and then all of a sudden there's this patient with blood on his shoulders gets pushed out on this cart, and he just cowers away and runs away to the side. And I thought that was hilarious how he's at first trying to act all strong and stuff.
Well, this is kind of like a running gag because he's done this like 4 or 5 times now. He's like walking into the dumpling shop ready to tell the Darang's mother, and she he's like, "Just kidding," or like, "I'm gonna walk in and tell them I'm back, but I'm gonna hide behind this fan because I can't do it." I mean, I liked it, but once again, it just shows to me like the lack of development of his character, right? Because like if it's a running gag and he keeps doing it and keeps doing it, it's like, what has he learned, right? Mm-hmm. And we've already talked about how stupid his fear of blood is now, and I think he was going to the hospital because he's been going to work this entire time,
Well, maybe he's just kind of like a general doctor, not really surgery or anything, so he never has a chance to like look at blood. Which is still pretty stupid.
It still doesn't make sense because how would he know how to do anything, right? But then his solution, of course, is he hides in the kids in the pediatrics place, right, for the kids, and he's in there with the kids, and he sees this cut, and he, that one of the tiny little boys has, right?
Right.
And at first he's like, "Oh no," but then he's like, "Wait. If it's a tiny cut, I can handle it." And I was just like, if I could, shove my hand deeper into my face than possible, I would have done it. Because it just, this subplot is so dumb. It is so beyond dumb. And we've already mentioned how many times we have to say, "Oh, it's not supposed to make sense,"
Yeah.
But like this just keeps going too far. It just keeps throwing me out of the even remote believability of this drama. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, I think in our outline, there's a lot of stuff that actually does that. So, I mean, when we get to there, we'll discuss even more things that just doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
Oh, another thing that doesn't make sense is like those kids there. I mean, are they there for like a cut or something? What are they there for?
Right. Like, obviously, if you use some common sense, they're probably there for like, kids are there for like leukemia and like lifelong, diseases. But apparently in this Korean hospital, they're just there with like a tiny cut on their arm, eating like with no adult supervision, right?
Yeah, they're all it's kind of like playtime by yourself in this random room.
Yeah, and apparently, Young-joon can just stand around all day, like just in there,
All right, so the next scene is where Marie, and she's at Young-joon's house, and she basically says, I can pretend to be your nephew or niece, right? And you be my uncle so that I can stay at your house and stuff. And I thought that was a really good scene because they now look more like brother and sister than girlfriend, boyfriend. And I thought that was kind of weird. And maybe in the future we'll find out if that's kind of... I mean, I don't know if they'll be brother and sister, right? But it would be more interesting to see what kind of real relationship they have. And I thought there was another really funny scene at the end was when Daran walks in and Young-joon just makes Marie bow with his hand, and I thought that was really funny.
Well, the weird thing to me is that like I've never once gotten the idea that they were really boyfriend and girlfriend. Like even from the very beginning scene, like it just seemed like they were kind of
they're close but...
family friends. Like that's what it always seemed like, Like they knew everything about each other but they've already said they've never kissed, right?
Right.
Like, they kind of are just good buddies. That's what I always got. So I really didn't. I enjoyed the scene, but I didn't think it was very different. Like, I was just like, that's
so
what
if we're thinking that they're just close, right? And a lot of times Mari asks or tells Kyungjun not to fall in love with the teacher and stuff. Is it because Mari thinks the teacher's not good enough for him, or is it because
I think she's really liked him the whole time, right?
I see.
But I think that he doesn't really, right? Like, he kind of thinks of her as probably a younger sister. Right? Because, like, the way he, like, pats her head, like, that's not boyfriend, girlfriend. That's, like, big brother, little sister. You know what I mean?
Right.
Unless we got, unless it's different in Korea or something. So,
patting head means you're my girlfriend type of thing.
Yeah, I guess. I never really thought they even... I always thought it was weird because they seem so much like just good friends or family friends. They never really... But it does make sense that Mari is kind of obsessed with him, and he's just kind of like, yo, you cute and all, but, I got other stuff to do, So the next scene that... I really like this whole kind of sequence,
I did too.
And it was when Darang and Kyungjun go shopping. And... there's so many just like tiny little... It's just, once again, it's just them being together, right? Just having fun. There's like a really cute scene where they're like walking past the meat section,
Mm-hmm.
And Darang's like trying to like do this like, oh no, don't look at the meat.
Yeah, it's like, are you scared of this? Are you scared of that?
But of course, Kyungjun is like, nah, it's cool. Meat is okay. And of course, that sort of
it was
contradicts.
chicken.
No, like all the meat there was more than just chicken. Like there was
really?
beef, there was steak. Yeah,
I never rewatched
like
that part.
He just picked up a chicken.
Later,
it's just
when
like a normal supermarket. It's not like they, there's
right.
all the meats are mixed together.
That's funny though. I mean, there's another part where they're holding. Okay. So this is a curious question that I have: is do people in like Korean couples do they like push the cart together and stuff? Because I'd never seen that in America. It's just really weird. I think it's really cute. But I was just wondering if it's like a cultural thing.
I feel like that's just a way to show that they're like together, Like,
Mm-hmm.
why would you need in America, why would you need to do that when you're just making out in a corner? You know what I mean? Like,
right.
So I do think maybe that's just a cultural, or maybe that's just a drama thing, Maybe in real life, like, they don't really do that. I don't know. But if you do know, cute, right? If you do know, please tell us.
Yeah.
I also liked that they just seem happy, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then all of a sudden, kind of to me, out of nowhere, Kyungjun is like, oh, by the way, I'm an awesome cook. And then I was like, wait a second. At the very beginning of this season, or this series, you only drank Coke and frozen
pizza,
pizzas.
right?
Like, I thought it was under the assumption that you cannot cook, and all you can do is eat this fast stuff, right? But then I thought of it even more, and I'm like, I still think it's really lazy script writing, right? I think they were just like, oh, we need this scene, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so we're going to just make it so that he's an awesome cook now. But I guess you can kind of, BS answer it and say that, oh, he was a great cook because his mom taught him. But then when his mom died, he doesn't want to cook anymore. Yeah, and that's why he ate the frozen pizzas. But now, since he found love again, right? Now that he found love again, he's willing to cook for her, And I think that's the reasoning behind it, but I still think that's incredibly lazy, kind of.
Yeah.
Especially since they didn't set it up previously.
Yeah. Daran looks really happy, too, which is like what I wish when I tell a girl I was going to cook for her. But instead, I just get meh.
Do you even know girls?
No.
Well, then I think that's the problem.
But when I tell them, I hope they are smiling like Daran.
Well, I hope so too. Because when I tell girls that I'm cooking for them,
they should run.
They should run away because I'm a terrible cook. Also, there are no girls either for me. So,
so it doesn't matter. We're good.
And that explains why we watch Korean dramas in a nutshell.
Don't tell them.
Because if we were balling with women, we would be out on dates. But no, anyways, I like I said, I do really like this scene. And you even wrote down that, IU's new song is playing. And of course, you really like IU. I didn't even know that.
Yes. is awesome.
Yeah. But anyways, after the shopping scene, which we actually didn't even mention that there's kind of a slapstick scene in the middle where like Darang's mom and brother are there, right?
Yeah.
And she kind of leaves because she tells Kyung-jun that she's going to tell them about him, right? But of course she doesn't, right?
Yeah, she gets too scared.
Yeah, she gets too scared, which once again is kind of her backpedaling on her character again, right?
That's her character,
I know, but she's been working up on like being more assertive, right?
Yeah.
And then when it matters, she reverts again, you know?
Yeah.
And I kind of didn't like that.
It's kind of like Young-jun where he's trying to build up confidence, you know, tell either the parents and stuff, and he like cowers away and stuff.
Yeah. And I do think as these episodes go on, it's kind of a reoccurring annoyance for me personally, is that a lot of things are happening, but not a lot of character development is happening, right?
Yeah.
But I did like, though, that when she broke away from her parents, Kyung-jun did actually show some maturity and was waiting for her.
Yeah,
you know?
and then he actually, instead of just forcing her to carry the bags, he, you know, carried them for her and not just try to be a dick again.
Yeah, he was actually, it felt like he learned something.
Yeah.
But then that kind of brings me to this entire next section, which was made up of a couple of scenes. But Kyung-jun, you know, goes home. He prepares his chicken, which looked like a normal chicken. It didn't look very fancy at all, right? He just put like some like random garnishes like on the side.
Yeah, it's like bake, done.
Yeah, and it was like, oh, we're ready. And it didn't even look like he even prepared anything. Everything in that kitchen was completely spotless, right? He was just like, magic chicken. But you know,
it's a drama, man. It's not a cooking drama. It's just
I know. But like I said, for me, that's lazy script writing where it doesn't take that much effort to make it look like he actually cooked. You know what I mean? It was just whoever was writing it or directing it, like, didn't give a shit. You know what I mean? But anyways, the whole reason for this scene is for the time limit, right? That's the entire reason that they even, I think, made up the fact that Kyung-jun is a good cook, is to be like, oh, we have an hour and a half, and Kyung-jun is so happy. He's so happy that he gets to sit and wait with Darang, right? Because Darang is like, what are we going to do? And he's just like, let's just sit down, right? Let's just spend some time together. And there's this line where Kyung-jun says, like, you know, if you have patience and wait for it to cook or grow, the day will come when it's ready to eat, or something like that. And of course, that's like a big, like, he might as well be speaking directly to the audience and winking, you know?
Yeah.
But of course, you know, I'm all prepared to have like a really cool scene. And of course, Darang's friend calls and is like, you know, she's trying to set up for not teacher, the sports
blind
teacher,
date
right?
kind of thing.
Yeah, to set up a blind date so that he can confess her love. And I was like, good, but
yeah, I was like that too. I didn't like that where she had to go away. Like, she actually left the house, and I was like, ugh, that sucks.
Yeah, but I mean, I get why they did it, because why put a time limit if she's not going to be running back, you know, later at the last minute, right?
Slow-mo run.
Yeah, so, okay, she leaves, which is fine. And actually, even though I didn't like that she left, I really, really, actually really like Na Teacher's character. Like, he's so sweet, right? And he's so genuine, you know?
Yeah.
Like, you know, Darang's brother is also kind of like that with Mari, but I don't think he plays it in the same way, you know?
Yeah.
Like,
it's because he does stupid things like signing a purse and stuff.
Yeah. But Na Teacher really is like, he's legitimately nervous. He like, his whole body shakes like it kind of would, you know? Mm-hmm. And I feel bad because, you know, also with the script writing, like, it is so obvious from the very first scene you even see him in that he's not even a legitimate threat. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And like, not even once are you even remotely believable that he even has a chance, you know? And even as far back as like episode 3, they've already set up that he and Darang's friend are going to probably get together, right?
Yeah.
Which is kind of what happens in the end, right? He confesses his love, and of course,
gets rejected.
Dude, Darang doesn't even let him off easily, dude. She's just like, yo.
She's not very, you know, quick on these things. So
yeah. She's just like, no, bro.
No, bro.
No, bro. You know, and then of course Darang's friend kind of shows up and saves the day.
Yeah,
which
and saves the day
cute.
A little bit, or saves his face a bit. You know.
Yeah. And of course Darang, when she's like stupid, you know, kind of like hitting her head. That's always really cute. For a little second.
It's always cute.
I know. Oh man, the next is just me talking a lot. All right, so then in the middle of all of that, right?
Yeah.
Mari shows up, and apparently randomly digging through Yoonjae's stuff.
That's what she does.
She finds a
Super
ring.
clingy.
You know? And of course, we both had the same reaction. I was like, do Koreans not give engagement rings? Like,
yeah, that was really weird. I was thinking about that too.
But I guess that's maybe a culture difference where it's more like, do you want to get married, miss? And she's like, yes, I want to get married.
Then I'll get you a ring.
Yeah, then later on we'll get you a ring. I don't know, but you know,
that's actually the smarter thing to do, and not buy a ring and then just get rejected. And you're like, all right, what the hell do I do with this ring?
True, but I mean that it's like the grand spectacle is the proposal. You know, that's like the how can I show you in a crazy way that I love you. Instead of like, hey guy, want to get married? Okay, you know, I mean, like, yes, that's more efficient if you want to call it that.
It's not efficient; it's less risky, I think.
Well, it's not less risky. It's the same. I mean,
well, you don't have to put I don't know $20,000-$30,000 on a ring and then get rejected, and then you have nothing to do with that ring.
True, but I mean, you're not randomly like, I've been dating a girl and I don't really know how she feels. I'm gonna randomly propose.
Some people do that. Some people just be like, bam, proposal.
Who is just like, yo, I don't even know if you really like me, but bam, $30K on a ring. Like, no.
I don't know. You see all those reality TV, people, and they propose and they get rejected. That's the type of people that should have been like,
number one,
get married?
reality TV is the farthest from reality ever. And number two, I don't even know what show you're referring to.
I don't know either, but there are people like
that. You just made that up. You just made that up.
No, I'm not making this up.
To sound like you knew what you're talking about.
No.
Yes, you did. No. Don't even try to backtrack.
Screw you. There are people like that who blow 30K on a ring and get rejected.
You're right. And there are crazy people everywhere, but you can't just because two people did it doesn't mean that like
whatever. I still think it's better that you ask them first and then go find a ring.
No. What you do is, okay, and we do have friends that are married and stuff like that, right? What you do is you have that talk, you know? You kind of have this generic talk that's like, where are we thinking about getting married? You know what I mean? Like, what do you see for us in the future? Kids, like you have that talk. You kind of need to get at least a 90% chance that you're going to get that she agrees with you, right?
Yep.
But you still get to do that giant proposal kind of, celebration. You know what I mean? And we're all saying this because we have no idea how Koreans work, right? Maybe this was an oversight on their part, and Koreans still do propose. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. But listeners, let us know because we do really want to know this question.
Yeah, because it seemed really strange to me, unless you are like have no love or imagination like Kelvin, and he just wants to just wants to give like his girlfriend like a little piece of paper that's like, want to get married? Check yes or no, right?
It's easier that way, though.
And then she like on the back, she makes her own box and says like,
I would probably use like a Google Plus event and be like, married, yes or no, join or not.
No, it'd be like, hey, want to go down to the courthouse? Like, what you're wearing is fine. What you're wearing is fine. I don't care.
It's easy. That's how you get women.
You're right. If you want it to be easy, girls, all the fangirls that like Kelvin, there you have it. If you want it easy, you got it with him.
Anyway, so there's this one. Maybe get back. So there's one section of that scene where Kang Kyung-jun. Might you say something?
No. Keep going.
Oh, anyway, so Kang Kyung-jun actually was talking to Daran, and he says that I'm never going to fall in love with you, which is total BS because you can just see in his eyes that he's in love with her.
Okay, well, you did kind of skip like 4 scenes there, but
really?
Well, there's the whole part where she leaves after Na teacher, is like confesses, and she's like running her butt off to make it home, right?
Oh, right.
And of course, like Kyung-jun has just gotten the ring, and he's like completely overreacting, right? Because like they just had this awesome experience. He's waiting for her to come back. She's running back, right? Yep. And of course he's like, oh, now that this ring is here, I give up. Like that's pretty much what he did, right? He was like, I give up. You don't even come over. I'm going to send food to your house. And I was actually really mad. I was like, you thought he was learning, right? Once again, we were just talking about, you thought that he was being more mature, right? And then all of a sudden
he was really jealous though.
But why? Like he knew that they were going to get married. Like I don't understand. I don't understand why this affects him.
I think it's because after all the stuff that Yoon-jae has done, pretty much sleeping with Sejong. Well,
He hasn't done anything. For the most part, he's been shady-ish.
Yeah, so
but
like
he hasn't
with
done
all that
anything.
shady stuff, he thought that when Yoon-jae wakes up, he has a chance.
No, but okay, here's the thing though, right? Like, what does buying a ring even mean? Like, he agreed, in theory, shady Yoon-jae, right? He agreed to get married. They made a date, they prepared they prepared everything. Like, even if he was being shady, he still could have bought a ring and not have been sincere about it. Like, finding a ring does not mean anything. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I know. Yeah. Yeah.
So I just thought it was really weird that they decided, like the writers decided that, oh, he found a ring. That must have meant something significant. But the whole time I was like, that didn't mean anything, right?
Yeah, it's just the same as agreeing to get married and still cheating and stuff.
Yeah, like he could have cheated on her 100 times but still bought a ring. Like, how does, you know what I mean? Like, it didn't really make sense to me. So I was really mad at that scene because I was like, okay, so pretty much this entire episode was negated by this random ring finding. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I kind of felt a little betrayed by, it didn't waste my time because there were some cute scenes in there, but I just thought it to be a little backtracky. I feel like we're complaining a lot, but I think a lot of it is legitimate complaints,
Yeah.
Then, keep going.
Well, yeah, you're right. There's just legitimate complaints, so, I mean.
Yeah, so we apologize if we're being too whiny or anything, but, if it's not good, we got to say that we didn't like it. And then right before, right after that, and I actually did like this part, like Kyung-jun goes to the hospital, right? And he sees Sejong, and he's just like, put on this ring, Because at this point, you have no idea whose ring it is, right?
Yeah.
Because it could have been Sejong's ring, and then that would have definitely proved shady Yoon-jae, right? And of course, when she was putting it on, I was actually kind of scared,
I didn't think it was going to fit her.
Well, I didn't think it was going to fit her, but I was hoping it did, because if it did, that opens up 100% that he was shady.
Oh, that's
so that
true. That would have been good.
Yeah, so Kyung-jun can get with Darang. I know that's not going to happen, right? Because that isn't good drama. But, they did suck me in and was like, please be it. And of course it wasn't, right?
Yeah.
So then comes to the scene you were talking about earlier, which was that Darang and Kyung-jun meet to figure out what they're going to do with the marriage. And Kyung-jun, once again, not learning his lesson, is like, one more time, ultimatum again, right?
He has a lot of ultimatums. This is what, like the third ultimatum?
Yeah,
or
his
second
third one. Still hasn't learned his lesson, right? And
Yeah.
of course, he's like, we either get together and get married, or we never see each other again. And of course, Darang, as he's counting down once again, cannot make a decision.
Well, she stays, so that's her decision, right?
No, at this point, she didn't say. He was like, 1, she didn't say anything, right? 2, she's like, we're never going to speak to each other again. 3, and she still doesn't say anything. And what Kyung-jun does is then he busts out the ring.
And just gives it to her.
Gives it to her, and that's when he's like, okay,
This is
I
your
give
ring.
up. Yeah, he's like, I give up. This was from Yoon-jae, and that's when he says that quote, which is like, I will never, ever love you again. Which is obviously not true,
Mm-hmm.
But, like, the reason he said that was because, once again, Darang just can't make up her mind, right? And he's just like, he's kind of just like, dropping the mic. He's just like, yo.
Dropping the mic.
He's like, I give up.
It's over.
Yeah, he's like, it's over. I'm out. Mouties.
You make some weird words, dude. Outies?
Have you never heard, dude, did you grow up in America or not? I'm serious.
Dude, who says outies?
It's like when people make fun of, oh, Jesus. Anyways.
My bad. Maybe I need to watch more TV.
You or speak to American people.
Okay.
But anyways, you know what I mean, right? He's just,
Yeah.
he kind of gave up at the end of this episode, and I really did not like the end of this.
I didn't like it either.
Like
He
that
should've
whole
kept
series.
fighting.
Yeah, the whole series was just like, it was going great, and then he found the ring and was just like, I'm out, So that was a downer, but of course, I was like, all right, episode 8, maybe that'll be better, so we're going to take a quick break. We'll be right back. Hopefully less complaining with episode 8.
사랑해 너무 아프지만 너무 힘들지만 너라서 난 괜찮아 언제나처럼 때문에 슬퍼 너라서 이렇게 사랑하는 너라서 몇 번도 참을 수
All right, welcome back, everybody. Let's get right into episode number 8. So episode number 8 starts off right where episode 7 leaves off, right? And Darang is still kind of, she has a ring on her finger. She's still kind of deciding whether or not she will get married to Kyungjun, right? Mm-hmm. And of course, she's still thinking it over. And I was like, oh gosh, she was just right back into this terribleness from what we just left off.
Like previous seasons or previous episodes and stuff.
Yeah,
of indecisiveness.
Yeah. And in the end, they still didn't really agree, right? Kyungjun, I think, has a little quote where he's like, you know, because he's out, right? He's like, this marriage is not really for me, Kyungjun, right? Mm-hmm. He's just like, okay, since I give up, let's just get married so that if we ever switch back, you'll be married to Yoonjae, right? Because I think he's just like, obviously you love him. Obviously this ring is proof that, you know,
he loves you.
He loves you. So let's just do this. I'm out. And I was like, oh, lame, right?
That was pretty lame.
Yeah.
So there's another scene that happens next is where Marie actually finds out that Kyungjun and Daran are agreed to get married, even though they haven't really agreed yet. So she dashes to the dumpling shop, and then she's going to reveal that Yoonjae is actually Kyungjun. And I found this was really funny because Kyungjun was trying to drag her out, and when he drags her out, he says, you know, or she says that I can pretty much tell them anytime I want. And I was thinking this exact same thing. I was like, what is he going to do to actually make her, you know, keep quiet?
Well, what he does is he tells her that, like, you know, you need to not do this, you know, like children should not whine just to get adults to do as they want, you know?
Right.
And of course, that's when you get the first real clue that Marie and Kyungjun's parents were supposed to be married, right? Mm-hmm. And it's Marie's fault for whining that apparently, you know, Kyungjun's mom died. So that's his way of shutting that down, is he's like, you're right, you can tell them whenever you want, but
if you do, I'm never going to see. Yeah, he says, like, I'm never going to see you again either. Yeah. So if you tell him.
Yeah. So that was kind of like, I mean, I thought it was a cool scene because Marie did kind of need to get shut down, right?
Yeah, because she's been kind of out of control, and she has not been told no yet, you know?
Yeah, so this is the first time you actually see a serious Kyungjun talking to a serious Marie, because I don't think that's happened yet, you know? Mm-hmm. And he's just like, and you finally get a little bit more backstory. Although I find it really weird that they were going to be stepbrothers and sisters, right?
Mm-hmm.
And if Marie is like obsessed with him.
Yeah, and it's kind of like they're trying to play the boyfriend-girlfriend thing. That would have been really weird.
Yeah. Very American, I must say, like kind of weird, strange family stuff. But anyways.
So another thing was Daran was thinking about what it would be like to actually marry Yoonjae, because the previous scene in the dumpling house, Daran hasn't actually made a decision yet, and their parents are like, so you need to make a decision, all that kind of stuff. And she's thinking about it right now, and basically she has these two flashbacks, or just thoughts,
like dreams, you know? Or like
dreams, yeah. And it's like, what would it be like if Yoonjae was really happy, or what would it be like if he was mad about it? And my curious question was, do you think Yoonjae would have been happy or, you know, mad about the marriage?
Well, see, the problem I think with this drama so far is that you don't know Yoonjae. Like Yoonjae has been in 2 minutes of this entire series so far. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like, I thought it would, like, I feel like they should have had at least one episode where he was really Yoonjae so that you can get to know him, you know? Mm-hmm. But I do think, and I was reading kind of online, like, some people like that because they're like, you don't know, right? You are kind of just like Darang. You don't know what Yoonjae will be like. Like, maybe he will be happy, maybe he will be mad. You don't know.
Yeah, but it's really hard to speculate, I guess. I mean, some people like to speculate, and I guess others don't. And the people that don't like to speculate, I guess, would like this, how they don't actually know anything about Yoonjae.
Right. Like, well, the people who like to speculate like this. Because if you knew what he was like, then you wouldn't be able to speculate.
Oh, okay, right.
You know what I
right,
mean?
I get,
So like, the fact that Yoon Jae is kind of wild card is like good for speculation because we don't know. The audience doesn't, the audience doesn't know. The actors don't know. Nobody knows. So, I do think I would be mad. Since body swapping happens all the time, right? Because I would have been like, why did you not tell people and have seen like, let's get some doctors on this. You know what I mean? Like,
it just seems like something really crazy if she actually went through with it.
Yeah. And as you kind of know later on, crazy things happen, right?
Yeah. She's
So
pretty crazy.
Yeah, the next scene you kind of, and I really like this scene. It was Darang's mom. Darang is kind of thinking at night, right? I think she's drinking again or something.
She drinks a lot.
Well, I don't know. I mean, they take out cans. I'm assuming it's beer, but we don't know, right? We don't really know what. It could have been
beer.
Milk tea for all we know. I don't know.
I guess so. Fine.
But anyway, she's drinking again, and Darang's mom actually gives her some really good advice. Finally, once again, it's like, suck it up, Darang, right? Like, this time, don't think about what other people want, right? Think about what you want, right? Follow your heart. And finally, someone is telling her to follow her heart. And so, even though it didn't happen in the 1 year gap, right? When it should have, hopefully after this scene, she'll start following her heart.
Hopefully.
Right.
I don't think she ever gave anybody a chance to give her good advice, though. I think she was kind of more private about what's been going on, so no one really knew that she was unhappy or that Young-jun was in Yoon-jae's body and stuff. So it was really hard for her to get sound advice,
Well, my problem is that I thought that was the whole reason for the 1 year gap was
So
for
that
her
she
to follow her own heart and forget about what Yoon Jae thinks, right? Like,
Right.
She didn't need advice to be given to her. She should have came up with that conclusion on her own, but of course she didn't. So I'm happy that the mom was like just stepping in as like, yo, stop, snap out of it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Unless you don't agree with me, like.
No, I think it was good advice, and that she actually she really needed it, because if she wasn't told that, she'd probably just keep on with this, indecisiveness and not know what the hell to do. So.
Yeah, I find myself. We said this earlier, but I find myself forgetting there even was a gap. Like
Yeah.
they haven't even mentioned it in a while. But anyways, the scene after this is also a scene I did not like. And it's still, once again, Kyung-jun in the hospital, and he's like hanging out with his doctor friends, or I guess Yoon-jae's doctor friends, and they're all talking about, quote unquote, old boring adult stuff, right?
Mm-hmm.
And he's kind of like, he sees these like teenage kids messing around, and he's like, oh, I miss being a kid, right?
Yeah, he's been stuck in as a adult for like a year now.
Yeah. But it just didn't make sense to me, because even when he was a kid, he didn't really act like that. Like the few scenes that we see Kyung-jun as a kid, he's on his own. He's trying to act like an adult, right?
Yep.
So it just weirded me out. But I guess that kind of makes sense. He's like, oh, now I don't even have the chance, right? Now I don't even have a chance to act like a little kid. But the problem with the scene is
Still
the whole time I'm like, how is he still a doctor? Right? And so to get, once again, after this scene, he's like, I'm just going to go hide in the pediatric ward again, right?
Dude, it's so stupid.
And he's just like trolling the kids, right? And he's just sitting there doing nothing. And I'm just, it's just this dangling plot thread that doesn't, they haven't resolved. And every time it shows up, it just,
I mean, what was the real point of that scene, though? There's real no, I thought it was just a fluff scene.
Yeah, like, at least the first scene, it was him, magically like, I'm okay with tiny cuts, right? So there was at least a little development in that. So I thought that he would start actually helping the kid patients, right? Like doing kind of the standard, maybe they have a broken arm, like working up to an adult.
Real doctor stuff.
Yeah, like I thought he would be working up, but of course this scene was just him standing around like eating little kids' food, right? Like, didn't really like it.
Yeah, I didn't like that scene either.
And speaking of things I didn't like, the next scene.
So many dislikes.
I didn't like writing all these dislikes, but I just didn't like them,
Yeah.
And
I mean,
so,
I didn't realize there's so many when I was first watching the episodes, and then after going through it, I was like, I didn't like this scene, I didn't like this scene, and
yeah,
I
I
just
think
didn't notice it.
the difference when we were writing the script is like when you didn't like it, you just didn't write it.
Right.
Because the listeners aren't going to really know this, but when I wrote the script, I had like 3 times as much stuff as you, right? Because I had so many dislikes. But so this dislike is Darang is once again at a coffee place or drink place with Sejong. And I was like, okay, we praised this scene in the first couple of episodes, right? Because we're like, Darang sticking up for herself. She's going to do it. And of course, every time she sticks up to Sejong, there's like 9 scenes of her not sticking up to anybody else, right? And I was like, okay, the first 10 times this scene happened, that's fine. But now I'm just like, they don't need one of these scenes every episode, right? Mm-hmm. Because why did she show up? She wanted to ask Sejong about her past with Yoonjae, right?
I think it's just the show. I think it's just to show that Sejong's still a bitch, and the whole time.
Right, but we didn't need another. Like she's still a bitch. We know that, right?
Yeah, I know we know that, but I don't think we've seen any scenes with Sejong in there, and there's fans for Sejong, and they're like, okay, we need a Sejong scene, so we're gonna make her look like a bitch again and put that in.
Right, it was pretty much like, all right, we need to put this girl in at least 30 seconds of our episode, Yeah. So we're just gonna make.
She's on our front
again.
title page, so we got to have her in there.
Yeah, and obviously, and even if Sejong's not a bitch, right? Even if, because I know she's bitchy, but she is to her, she's like Yoonjae is perfect for me, right? Like
she has valid reasons.
Yeah, I mean it's a little crazy, but she's like, why would he want to be with this girl, right? And so why would she answer any question from Darang? Like it doesn't make any sense, right? Yeah. Like what is the motivation behind Darang? Unless she's kind of just dumb. Right? She's like, I'm going to call Sejong and maybe she'll tell me the truth.
That's what she's thinking. She's crazy.
That makes no sense. Like,
that's what she's saying. She's like, I'm going to ask her, did you sleep with, Yoonjae? And I'm thinking, dude, she's not going to answer that.
I know. And that's a dumb question because there's only 2 answers. Either she's not going to answer it or she's going to say yes. And both is not happy. Right? You know what I mean? Like
she's not going to give you like confidence in, marrying Yoonjae, So.
Yeah. And so stupid scene, and sadly later on it happens again. But let's change it around, all right? So the next scene, I love this scene, and it was when Kyungjun is watering the lawn, right? And Darang is like sitting under umbrella, like watching him, right? Mm-hmm. And this was finally after all these stupid, angsty scenes, they just get to have a fun scene again, right? And I wrote in my
like a couple.
Yeah, I wrote in my script. I was like, okay, I'm not gay, but damn, I'd hit some of that. And like, what I mean is like Kyungjun, Gong Yu is like, there's that slow motion. He's like spraying water.
Really? That did it for you?
Dude, I was like, dude, that's pretty, like, he's pretty cute. He's a pretty cute dude. I can admit that, And like the whole time, and you see Darang's face, like, oh yeah, you know what I mean? Like,
so the scene that you really like was Yoonjae spraying stuff at you. That's the scene.
Buddy. Yeah, buddy, in the face. And I was like, Darang, she's thinking like, oh, you can make it rain on me anytime you want, I thought it was pretty funny.
I mean, he does look good and stuff, but I'd rather see Darang under like the umbrella and stuff.
Well, obviously, but I don't want to just talk about girls like you, right? Like I gotta even it out a little bit.
No, I'm a biased, so I'm sorry.
You're
guys.
a biased?
I am biased.
Okay, all right, biased boy. But actually, aside from that, like I actually thought the scene was pretty interesting because when you see her, like her heart skipping, right?
Yeah.
Like, is her heart skipping because she's watching Yoonjae's sexy body, right? Or is her heart skipping because of Kyungjun's like personality and the way he's spraying the water, interacting with her?
Oh, it's a tough one.
And I think it's meant for the personality, right? But the way they shot the scene was more of like a body thing.
A body, like a physical attraction.
Yeah, more like a physical attraction instead of a personality.
The thing is, I don't feel like Darang is physically attracted to Yoonjae. And
every time he gets close, she gets super embarrassed. What are you talking about?
Well, she's just super embarrassed because, she's close to the person she loves, but not because he's hot and have chocolate abs.
Well, it depends
So-
what you believe. Like when you love somebody, like you also have to be kind of physically attracted to that person. You
True.
know what I mean?
Yeah.
I mean, except for in a super, super ideal world where you're like, I'll love you no matter what. And, you know, all props to anybody who found love like that, you know?
Mhm.
But truthfully, at least for me, honestly, like in real life, like
There
you
needs to
have
be
to
some
be
kind of
physically
physical-
attracted. So,
yeah.
you know, that is showing love. It's just because you
That
can't
has to be
say that
part of it.
he's not good looking, right? Like,
Right.
you can't be like, oh, she will date ugly guys because obviously not teacher is like, he's like waiting. He's like, yo,
Well,
you
not
wanna-
teacher's not ugly.
Well, he's not ugly, but he's definitely not a Gong Yu, right? And they don't
Yeah.
play him like a Gong Yu. You know,
He just needs a better haircut, I bet.
well, Gong Yu actually has a weird haircut too.
He's all right.
Dude, you remember the first episode? You were like, he has a weird haircut. That's what you said.
Well, yeah, that was the first episode when he had this weird part in this, but now it's better.
I think you're just warming up to his good looks, bro.
I guess so. His chocolate abs are just doing it for me.
Well, you haven't seen his chocolate abs in a while. He hasn't shown it. So it's
But
about
they're
time.
Ingrained into my head from episode 1 and 2.
I know when whenever you look at yourself in the mirror, you're like, dang it. What have
Where's
I
my
done with my
chocolate abs?
life? Why? Why don't I have them?
Anyways.
So that was a fun scene. And of course, following that fun scene was another poop scene.
I didn't like the scene either.
No, okay, so they build up this ring, which they literally, it just seemed like they made up out of nowhere, right? In the
Yeah.
last episode. And of course, Darong's like, I lost it.
She's like, meh. All right, well, if it's lost, it's lost.
Right, she's like, oh, I need to look for it by just scrounging around kind of in the dirt for like 5 minutes. And
She comes back in. It's like, oh well, if it's lost, it's lost. It didn't really matter. I mean, it was just there to mess up everything that I've already decided.
yeah.
And Youngjun gets really pissed at her about it, though.
I mean, I don't think he got super pissed, but I think he got mad because it's like, oh, well, then that's easy, right? Because he was, you know, I didn't really think of this before, but you know when he was like, I give up? You know? When I was young, I kind of did that.
Like, straight give up.
No, I didn't really give up, but I told the girl I give up because you want her to fight for you, right?
Right. It's
And-
kind of like psychological warfare then.
Yeah, it's really childish, and you know, now that I'm older, I'm like, what was I thinking, right? But I did that a lot, actually. You know the girls, but it's just so this whole time he's like, okay, I'm giving her this ring because I want her to reject it, right? That's
Yeah.
what I'm thinking right now. And of course, when she lost it was like, oh, now my whole plan kind of went out the window, right?
Oh, so that's what he was thinking?
I really think that's why he got mad because he's like, oh, well, she can't reject the ring if she lost it. You know, it's kind of like a win by the
Default.
forfeit. Yeah.
Yeah. I
And
didn't see
so-
it that way. Now that you say it, it's kind of interesting.
Yeah, so I think that's kind of why he got mad at that scene, and I just thought of that right now. So I guess that's a little bit more interesting, you know, than at first. But I still don't really like the whole way they're treating this ring.
Yeah.
It just seems kind of out of nowhere.
I think it's just because we don't really know the Korean culture about the ring.
Well, regardless of the ring, I mean, I just don't get why it. We've talked about it, right? Why it means something, because you can be Shady McShady, right, and still
McShady.
and still buy a ring. You know what I mean? Like it doesn't.
Yeah.
It doesn't prove anything, regardless of if Koreans have engagement rings or they save it until the wedding. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But next was, and this brings up a weird side point, which is like, do you have the feeling that literally all the side characters are just there for comic relief?
Yes,
Like,
they are.
they don't
I mean, that's
really
why we don't
even
really talk
bring-
about them very much, because they don't push the plot, and they're funny, but they're really pointless, I guess.
Yeah,
Because we only care about what Gyeongyu and Daran does, or what they do, right? And what happens to them.
yeah, they
but
always
they
feel
ca-
like they're entirely separate, and they don't really they don't mesh together well with the main
It
plot.
actually, now that I think about it, they don't even interact very often together.
Right, it's always like Chung-shik and Muddy separately entirely. And I mean, recently they've kind of, Chung-shik has been like following them in weird scenes, but
Right, and actually Mari has some reason to be with Daran and Gyeongjun now, but
yeah.
still, there's a lot of scenes where it's just all separate stuff, which is kind of like the next scene where, Chung-shik is trying to confess his love to Mari and stuff.
Dude, with his epic speech, right? He was getting in there, like he was practicing. He was like, "I got this." Awesome
Have you ever given those
speech.
speeches before?
I have actually. I have.
I have never. Those speeches, well, as you can tell, I'm not very good with words, so those speeches would have failed for me.
Because you are biased. Wait, what did you say? I can't even remember what you said.
I said, like, if I try to give those speeches, you can tell that I'm not very good with words.
Yeah.
So they would clearly have failed.
Yeah.
So, anyways, those speeches suck. I hate them.
Sorry, bro.
But I thought it was just it was a comic relief scene where his mom just brings out a box of porn.
I know. It's like at
It's
the
like-
at the climax of the
Yeah,
speech.
and she just
Yeah.
does it so casual. Hey, Chung-si, take a look at this stuff. Throw it out. I'm gonna, throw it all on the floor and have everyone see that it's porn. But throw it out. That
Yeah.
was really weird.
But I felt really bad for him. I felt, because I like I said, I've given kind of speeches like that, obviously not as cinematic and well rehearsed,
Right.
And I was like, oh man, you get up all your nerve to say that, and of course your mom of all people shows up and just embarrasses the poop out of you,
Yeah. Do you
so
think
I
she did
felt
it on
really bad.
purpose?
I don't know. I don't think
just-
so. I don't think so. Mom, I think moms really don't think
About that
about
kind
that kind of stuff,
Really?
No, yeah, I
should.
don't think so. If she
weird.
did, that's really spiteful. You know what I mean? Like, he seems to have a really good relationship with his mom.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
Like, it doesn't really make sense unless she doesn't like Marie and is trying to get rid of her. But you don't really get that sense.
Yeah, like she comes to the dumpling house and they feed her and stuff. I mean, she probably pays, but it's not gonna kick her out.
Yeah. So I think it was just she didn't know he was confessing his love. She just walked in and was like, "Hey, get rid of this."
Which then leads to Chung-si getting really pissed off at his mom and
Yeah.
running away. And I was just curious, did you? Because I think it's stupid. Like running away is really dumb. Like, what are you gonna do? Where are you gonna go? Where are you gonna find the money? And what is the point of it? All that kind of stuff. And I was just thinking, like, did you ever run away and stuff like that?
I mean, I've never packed my things and ran away, but there have been times where my dad's like, "You get out of my house right now," and so I would leave.
That's not running away, dude. That's getting kicked out.
Right. So I mean, running away is I feel like I get why kids would want to do that. I mean, I wouldn't do it off of this, right?
Right.
If my parents were abusive or beating me every day, were drunks or alcoholics,
That's
that
a good reason
is
to
a
run
good
away.
reason to run away.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But so this is not really, but I do get why kids do it because kids don't think of the future,
I never. I don't know.
you say that because you do. Because you're like, where are they going to go? How are they going to get money? But
yeah. Well, no.
normal
Back
kids
then,
don't
when I
think of
was
that.
really pissed off at my parents or something, and even if I wanted to go somewhere, I'm like, okay, well, there's really no point because one, no money, nowhere to stay. I mean, I have nothing that I can really do. So yeah, stay home.
Right.
Fine.
And I'm trying to say that most kids don't think of that kind of stuff.
Oh, kids.
Or you just weren't mad enough.
I guess not.
I know your parents, and I feel like you have a pretty good relationship with your parents. You know what I mean? You might get mad every once in a while, but there have definitely been times where every day of the week my parents have got me angry.
You
My
just get
parents
angry easily though.
I'm not really, but
But as you get angry at me over the smallest things,
yeah, when your English is terrible, that's what matters.
it's not my fault.
It's not your fault. You've lived almost your whole life in America, and you don't know English very
It's
well.
not my fault. That's just how I work.
It is true. It is true. You it's the.
I'm just
Canto.
bad at English. Accept it.
It's not the English. It's the word processing.
That's true.
You need to upgrade
Anyways.
your CPU, bro.
I do.
Anyway, so once Chun-Sik leaves, right? There's this scene where Kyung-Jun kind of accidentally shows up at the dumpling house, but Na teacher and Kyung-Jun the first time they kind of interact with each other and they're having a battle, And there's
His dad's rooting for Na teacher and stuff.
Yeah, Na teacher and the mom is kind of rooting for Kyung-Jun. And this is the first time you kind of see them both standing next to each other and they're just super awkward, looking up and down, sizing each other up. And I thought that was hilarious. And of course, it's set up so that Na teacher's going to fail, obviously, right?
Yeah.
Because Kyung-Jun can just call Marie, and of course, Marie will fix everything. And that's kind of what happens,
Mm-hmm.
Na teacher has this kind of epic scene where he's doing all CSI with the Mission Impossible music going.
So stupid. And then he licks the ramen.
I know.
God, that's so gross.
But I was like, it was kind of smart. Like, regardless of the slapsticky way they handled the scene, like, it was kind of smart, right? Like, where would he go, right? Probably somewhere really close. Oh, I see that. You know, it kind of made sense logistically. And like I said, if it wasn't written so that it was so obvious that he's a side character, like, I would really root for him.
That's true.
Like,
he has a good heart and really, like, innocent and kind and stuff like that.
Right, like, he's not childish, you know? He's not bickery. He loves her and he just wants to be with her and help her, you know?
Yeah.
And that's the more mature, I think.
If only that's the way to get women.
If only being the nice guy worked.
Yeah, if only.
If only.
You're so depressed.
Yeah. This
Anyway,
is a depressing
so
episode,
eventually Kyung-jun finds Chung-sik in the spa. And he's just explaining, you know, if you're going to rebel, you shouldn't do it for too long. And just do it, like, you should do short and frequent ones, you know.
Right.
But you should also check up on your mom, see how she's doing. Because there's going to be a time when if you rebel, you know, you won't get a chance to make up with your mom, you know.
Yeah.
And I thought that was really mature of Kyung-jun because he actually had that kind of experience.
Yeah, this is when you get, you know, more details, of course, on, like, how his mom died.
Yeah.
I
Which is
really
really
did
weird.
like the power of the scene, and Gong Yu played it very well, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Like, he didn't overplay it. He really talked to him like I think a grown-up would talk to a kid, right?
Yeah.
And wasn't saying he made a mistake. He wasn't telling me he was an idiot, you know? He was just like, you know, if you want to do it, that's fine, I get it, but just please understand that you're young and you don't understand, you know? Like,
Right.
And
there are other consequences that can happen if you're doing this kind of stuff, you know?
Yeah. But this was kind of the point where I was like, you know, because we were just talking about how it didn't really make sense that Chung-sik would just run away, you know? But of course, the only reason he ran away was for Kyung-jun to give this speech.
Right.
And, I mean,
We're
that's
thinking
just...
too deeply.
I
You're ruining
know,
the drama.
I know, I'm ruining the drama. But what I've always believed is, you know, a good drama thinks about this kind of stuff, you know? Anyways, the next scene's really quick. I really didn't like it. I was like, because I'm rooting for Na teacher, and of course they don't mention, nobody calls him Na teacher, and it's like, yo, we found him, right? Like, for all
They
you
forgot
know,
about him. They
I know.
found
For
him.
all you know, he's like looking for them. Oh, I thought they would have like a throwaway scene in there where it was like 9 hours later and he's still searching for him.
That would have been hilarious.
Yeah, I thought that would be a great throwaway scene, but of course they don't even ever mention him again. Like, they're like, oh well, sorry,
Oh, well.
not teacher, you suck.
That's how, like, side character he is, you know? That's
Right.
how unimportant.
They really don't even give a crap about him, you know?
Yeah.
It's kind of sad. And of course, this kind of goes into the main backstory of Kyung-jun, where Darang sees Mari crying, and Mari finally admits that, you know, Kyung-jun is really mad at her, and he's been mad at her for a while because to her, he blames her for his mom dying, right? And
Yeah,
there's
she
like
thinks
this,
that.
Yeah, you don't know if he really believes that, but she thinks that Kyung-jun blames her.
Right.
And so you get the backstory that, you know, they were going to get married, Kyung-jun's mom and Mari's dad. And of course, Mari is the one that's like, I don't want this to happen, right?
Mm-hmm.
So she kind of ropes Kyung-jun into breaking the date that she knows that her dad is going to propose, right? Which, if you really think about it, makes absolutely no sense because they could have just proposed the next time. You know what I mean? Like, that does not stop anything at all. And of course, you know,
You're thinking too far again.
no, I'm not, we just spent a whole episode discussing this kind of stuff. You don't lie
That's
to me
true.
like you didn't think of that.
That's true. Like, yeah, that was pretty stupid.
And of course, you know, that's the night that Kyung-jun's mom died, and you know, you feel bad because, you know, Mari is crying and she really thinks it's all her fault. And of course, Kyung-jun has just given her the real angry speech, right? Previously.
Yeah. I thought
and
the way Kyung-jun's mom dies was really stupid.
Right. Well, that's not until a little bit later. But after this scene, then Darang ends up going back home to Kyung-jun, right? And Kyung-jun tells the rest of the story, right?
All right.
Kyung-jun, like, the way he tells his mom to not go on the date was what? He said, like, if you go on the date, I'll never see you again, which was, you know, a super overreaction, right?
Hey, but at least, you know, if if she goes on a date, then she's not going to see him again, and that kind of covers the, they can just get married the next day type of thing.
I guess.
Like, his is
That's
extreme
true.
enough that covers that question that we were asking.
Right. He's just like, I mean, well, it's weird, but he could have just said, I don't want, like, he could have just said, I don't want another dad, like, I don't want a stepdad, then I'll never speak to you again. That makes more sense than just saying, because she doesn't know he's going to propose, right?
Yeah.
So it just didn't really make sense. But anyways, the scene you're talking about is, of course, the scene of how Kyung-jun's mom died.
Yeah. That
And-
was really stupid.
And that was just one of those, like, honestly, like, it was so racist. Like, the scene was so racist and so stereotypical America, right?
Yeah, it was horrible.
Like, of course, they're walking in the dark alleyway, right? And randomly two guys just show up. They're not even fake mugging her. They're not even fake anything.
Hey, you.
It's like, hey, you, just randomly shoots her. And of course, who shoots her? The black guy shoots her. There was a white guy right next to him. It was the black
But the white guy's standing there, and the black guy does the shooting.
Yeah. It was so
I think a lot of
racist.
the Korean culture, like either dramas or variety shows, are a bit, stereotypical, and they kind of do that kind of stuff. So,
Well, I mean, even my parents that have lived here for 30 years are still irrationally afraid of African American people. Like it makes no sense. You know what I mean? But
yeah.
anyways, the whole time I was like, they could have made this scene like it was weird slapstick moment of a scene that should not have been slapstick. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like,
I mean, they should have did just a normal mugging, and that would have made a little bit more sense.
Yeah, see, and this is the exact same thing as that I've been saying many times, where it's like they did not think it was such lazy script writing, right? It was like we needed her to get shot. Who's going to shoot her? A black guy. Why is he going to shoot her? I don't give a shit. Just have her shoot her. You know what I mean?
Just shoot her.
Just shoot her. Okay, and
Yeah.
it was just such a terrible, terrible scene. And then of course after that scene, there was this really strange lunch
I don't like
scene
this stuff either.
where, and there's a lot of people here, but it's like Darang's parents, there was Kyung-jun's uncle, and there was the vice principal from the school, right? And I think Na teacher and Darang's friend is there too, but they're kind of forgotten about, right? And there's just this weird rectangle thing, but I don't care about that. All I care about is, all right, listeners, you need to tell us if this is okay in Korea, but there's a whole lot of teacher-student relationships happening.
Actually, I don't know if it happens a lot, but I feel like a lot of dramas do that kind of stuff.
Right, because it was Darang's dad was a teacher, and Darang's mom was a student, and Kyung-jun's uncle was another student, but the vice principal was a teacher. It was just like, wait, what?
Maybe it's okay over there.
I
As long
felt
as they're
like
like
this
over
scene,
20.
Yeah, I felt like this scene was just in there to be like, hey guys, it's okay. It's okay if Kyung-jun gets with Darang, right? Like, it's okay if they're students. They'll all end up to be happy, Like the one comment we had on our website about as long as, you're happy, age doesn't matter,
Yeah.
And maybe that's an American thing because we have been conditioned to be like, there is an
No
age
students.
of consent. Right, there is an age of consent because when you're too young, you don't know what you want, right?
Yeah.
And that's why we do have a very strict age of consent rule in America. So maybe that's just one of those things where we don't understand because it wasn't like they got together while they were, teacher and student, right? You don't know that. They were just flirting.
Maybe it was like after.
Yeah, it was after they graduated, then they got married. But of course, in America, that's the shady of all shady. You know what I mean?
You still can't do that after you get graduate and stuff?
You're not going to go to jail, but like you have to quit and move to another city. You know what I mean? Like if anybody knows that happens, like
really,
you are screwed as a teacher.
Interesting. Didn't know that one.
Yeah, and for anybody who doesn't know, I'm actually a teacher, and so I actually worry about this stuff all the time.
You worry about the student-teacher relationship stuff?
Yeah, like I worry about I don't even high five girl students, because we've been taught that you are supposed to stay
as far away as possible.
Yeah, you're not supposed to touch them. You're not even supposed to stay after school, even for tutorials in a closed room, right? Like if you are in an after school tutorials, you should have the door open, and you should tell one of your coworkers.
And you should raise like flags and stuff and sound of the alarm.
Raise the what? Like I thought you were thinking like I'm with the little kid flag. Like I thought that's what you were saying.
like never mind. Like if it's in the
Yeah, I get
medieval
what you're saying.
times where it's like someone's attacking us, you sound the alarm, let everyone know that you
Because
are
that
tutoring a
makes
student that's
perfect
female.
Yeah. But anyways, if the listeners can tell us if that's not really a big deal in Korea, that would be great. So next, after that, we have Marie, and she's like kind of kneeling outside, like Asian squatting outside Kyungjun's house, right, ready to apologize. And the reason some of these scenes don't really matter, but I wrote them down because there were so many scenes I didn't like, right?
Mm-hmm.
So anytime there was a break from that, and it was just Suzy being cute and apologizing, and Kyungjun being nice and apologizing, right? Like even though
I
it
think
didn't
those are
really
pretty
mean that
important.
much,
Because you
Well-
can see that they actually have another side to them. Because you never see Suzy or Marie apologize.
I mean, I guess that's true, but she's also never been yelled at.
Like,
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Okay, I shouldn't say useless, but I should say scenes that, like, I wrote down that I really liked them because of the other scenes that were so bad. Like, I think if this was like episode 3 or episode 4, I wouldn't even have written that scene down.
Yeah.
Although I kind of wonder what that little snack is that they were sipping on, right? I guess they were like, did they say it was like it's like weird Asian popsicle?
Yeah, I think it's like a frozen dessert type of thing, which I want to try.
Just because Mari has Suzy
No,
is,
it's just because I like sweet things, so I want to, and I like popsicles.
It kind of looks like it's like their version of like a young Ledua, like a frozen one, you know?
Yeah.
But anyways, the next scene, we mentioned it before, but the next scene is Darang meeting with Sejong again.
I like to have those scenes, man. You got to have Sejong in there, maybe like 30 seconds to a couple minutes per episode.
I know.
It's probably like in her contract.
And once again, Darang is like, I'm going to call up Sejong and tell her that I am not going to waver, There's like a whole speech where Darang is like, I'm going to turn into a tree so that Youngjae can lean on me, something about the national anthem. But after, I was just like, get this over with. Get this stupid scene over with. We
Yeah, and then like
just saw it.
Sejong says, "I'll tell you," and then she's like, "Man, I don't care. I'm gonna
know.
just stay the way I am." I'm like, ugh, so pointless.
Yeah, it was just so pointless. And as I said, I apologize to the listeners because I wrote down way more things than Kelvin because, like I said, I think, Kelvin, you just didn't write things down because you didn't care. About
Well, no,
that
I
scene.
like some of the scenes I didn't think were very important, or they were kind of like just fluff pieces, So I was like, people don't really care that much about it, but
Well, the
I
thing
just kinda
is,
skipped it.
some listeners maybe thought they were important scenes,
that's true.
so that's why I
so
kind
that's
of-
you got it covered. So
Yeah.
you'll talk about it, and I will give some more comments on it. Good job, guy.
Good job, myself. So the next scene after that is Darang is searching for the ring again. And this was a pretty important scene. And Kyungjun kind of shows up and he apparently he found the ring, right? I don't think
Yeah.
they ever even mentioned how he found the ring or where he found the ring, right?
They don't. I'm
But-
sure he was just like having it in his pocket and just, you know how like sneaky he is. That's what I bet he had it in his pocket and just didn't show it to Daran and
I
planned
guess.
this kind of stuff.
Or this was a random magic ring that they just needed to move the plot along. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
But of course, there was this really kind of, she had just told Sejong that she was going to be that tree, right? Be that person that Kyungjun can rely on. So she's like, I still really like Yoonjae, right? She admits that. But she's like, you know what? Screw it. I'm going to go with you, Kyungjun, right?
Mm-hmm.
Let's get married. She actually asked him to get married and is like,
That was awesome.
I'm gonna raise you well. And like,
raise you well is weird, but asking Kyungjun to get married was really cool. I like that.
well, I was so happy. I was like, oh, she's doing it. But then she says that word. She's like, I
Yeah.
will raise you well. And I was like, oh, fuck. Like, you know what I mean? She's like,
Yeah.
she backed out. She's like, I'm not going to admit any feelings toward Kyungjun, right? I'm just going to.
Yeah, I mean, it's not really back out. It's just we
No.
expect it too much, I feel.
She backs out because why did the year gap happen? It was to kind of make it so that Kyungjun's a real person. And once again, she's like, you're a child again. I'm going
I
to
see what
raise
you
you
mean.
up. You know what I mean? I was like,
Yeah.
poop on a poop.
I didn't like the part where they agree to get married,
Yes.
and then they're
Finally.
talking, and it's like, if we're 20, we're going to split up. I'm like, what?
I know. I wrote that down.
That doesn't make sense. If
I
you're
was
20,
like,
you should, get together, stay together for real.
that was just stupid drama stuff, right? Because that's going to happen. Like, that was just a straight on, like, okay, anyone watching this drama, we're still going to be stuck here until 20, right?
You think they're going to split up again?
Yes.
Or, you think they're going to have another time skip? Like another year?
I don't think they'll have I don't know if they'll have a time skip, but I do think that I just don't know why they put that stipulation in there.
I guess what's going to happen is like near the end of the drama, Kyungjun's going to turn 20, and then she has to decide to split up or not, type of thing.
Right, like maybe episode. I think they said it's supposed to be 16 episodes,
16,
so maybe episode
yeah.
like 14 or something like that.
Yep.
We called it now. 14. They're gonna turn 20, split up.
We have not seen 9 and 10 yet.
Yeah, which is good. Calvin finally
Yes.
listened to me.
I tried to listen.
Yeah. So the next scene after that is Sejong is with Yoonjae's mom, and of course she notices the miracle book, right? And of course it finally is revealed that the miracle book was written by Yoonjae's father about a child saving another child so that child can save someone else. And the whole time I was just like, okay, why don't you just tell us the plot of the drama?
Yeah, it's more that like secrecy, mystery stuff, and they only give you a little bit, but they want you to feel interested, I guess.
Yeah.
To me, I didn't write this down because I didn't give a shit.
Well, I was like, okay, this is dumb. This is like, hey, this is why we made the drama. You know what I mean? Like, it was like, wink, wink. This is actually the summary of our drama. Like, it was so cheesy to me, But
I think we're starting to not like this drama after talking about it.
No,
There's
I
so many
just think
dislikes.
it's like in a rut, It's like in this weird little, like, progression is not happening. You know what I mean?
Hopefully 9-10's better.
Yeah. On a happier note, the next scene, all I wrote was Susie in a motherfucking wedding dress. And I wrote down at least 25 exclamation marks.
That wedding dress looked really good on her. Especially it's one of those short wedding dresses. Even though I'm not a big fan of short wedding dresses because I don't think they're as classy, but that still looked really good on her. And her comments was, she's talking to, I think it was like Chung Shik about it.
Yeah.
And Chung Shik's like, well, if you wear this wedding dress, you and my sister are going to look like two brides. And she's like, yep. That's exactly what I want. I was like, what the fuck? She's so crazy.
She smoked that cray cray again.
Dude. But I love her. She's so cute.
Oh, she's so cute, dude. And I was like, okay, she's going to be in this wedding dress. She's going to be super cute. We've already seen Darang in a wedding dress. She's going to be super cute. This wedding is going to be great. And then what happens? They have the wedding off screen. And I was like, oh, Big, you're losing me, man. You're losing me. But the problem is I didn't even notice, right? Like, it kind of happens off screen, and like there's this kind of like flash of like the family rock, right? Yeah. And I think there's like a fifth rock there, but like in the next scene, I was so confused. I was like, what just happened?
I thought because like they're driving the newlywed van or car, right, with all the ribbons and stuff, and I thought they're going to the wedding, and I was like, wait, why aren't they dressed?
Right, and then they start talking about going on the honeymoon, and I was like, wait, did the wedding just happen?
Yeah, that sucked because we didn't get to see Susie and Mingjung in a wedding dress at the same time.
Yeah, but okay. I mean, I was just being funny, but like, yes, that's important, right? But even just the grand scheme, like plot wise, like I was really mad, because like I said, I love the hijinks. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And a wedding like that would have been just so ripe for just a fun. It would have
been hilarious
scene.
to see what Susie or Marie would have like done, and because she's crazy about Kyungjun,
Right, I was totally expecting, in every wedding movie, there's always like, does anybody have any objections? They always have that scene.
Yeah, she would have jumped up so quick.
Oh, man.
Although,
actually, on second thought, like, maybe I don't really get Korean weddings, but I've seen Korean weddings in other things, and they always wear that traditional Korean garb, right?
Yeah.
And
I think they do both.
Do they do both? Like, there's like two different things, maybe?
Yeah, kind of like two separate ceremonies, maybe?
Because there's a scene, and I don't really remember where, but there's a scene where Darang's mother, right, is opening, like, the wedding, like, formal Korean wedding outfit for Darang. And it just randomly occurred to me that, like, I guess, I think it's
kind of like, Chinese where they have one's more like the normal Western wedding. It's not really two weddings, but they have the ceremony with the Western wedding, and then they have like reception,
like
in the
normal.
traditional, I guess, Korean outfit and stuff like that. It might be something like that.
Gotcha.
But
like,
again,
if you
the
guys know,
listeners need to let us
listeners, if
know.
you're still with us,
after all this hate,
of this,
we're sorry. But
yeah, we do apologize.
we're not trying to hate on the drama. We really like it. It's just
Yeah.
there's some scenes that just doesn't make sense to us.
So we've already started talking about it. So the next scene, right, is they're driving to the airport, apparently going on their honeymoon, except
Right.
Darang is going by herself for some unknown reason that they never tell you, right?
I guess they just thought it was too awkward to go together, right? I think that's what they talked about. Or Daran just never asked Kyungjun to go with her, and I guess she thought it was awkward. And eventually, Kyungjun finds. I mean, he thinks it's. He wanted to go with her on the honeymoon, and so Daran's going to the airport and getting the ticket and stuff, and she realizes she doesn't have a ticket and calls back Kyungjun, and basically Kyungjun just lies to her and saying, I'm driving back and stuff, so it's going to take me a while, and it's basically Kyungjun being a dick again and kind of tricking Daran into a honeymoon that they both go on.
Right. Well, I mean, okay, I'm fine with her feeling weird, right? And she wants to go by herself, right? But we know what happens at the end. Like, right after this scene, then there's a whole scene where it's like, oh, I actually wanted you to come. I just didn't know how to ask you, right? And I thought that was just kind of this weird negation of, like, why did this scene even happen? Like, other than to make Kyungjun kind of seem like a dick again, right?
Yeah.
But anyways, there's in the middle, there's this scene where Yoonjae's mom finally calls the dad, right, that we've never seen. And she's like, where have you been? And Yoonjae's dad is like, I've been busy. And she's like, yo, bitch, why?
Actually, I would have liked the scene if it was like that.
Yeah.
But instead, I didn't write it down because I thought it was really boring.
Yeah, it was just Yoonjae's dad in like stoic Asian voices like, I've been
Yeah.
trying to find that child since his mom was shot and killed. And of course, we're all like, obviously, that's Kyungjun, right?
Yeah, and then
And-
they zoom in on some random picture.
Well, they zoom in on this picture, and we were trying to figure it out. Like, I have always thought, and I didn't want to mention this because we had not seen all the episodes, right?
Mhm.
But I, probably episode 3 or episode 4, I was like, I think Kyungjun and Yoonjae are brothers, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so this is kind of what I thought was proof. Like, there's a picture frame, and you see Yoonjae's dad, and you see a mom, and you see a kid. And neither one of us could tell whether that was Yoonjae's mom or that was Kyungjun's mom, right?
Yeah, it's too blurry.
It's
and
too
we're not
blurry.
good at. Or we're a little bit racist. They all kind of look the same.
Yeah, we couldn't really tell which mom it looked like because they kind of look very similar,
Yeah.
But I mean, they have to be brothers, right? Like,
I think
there's
they're brothers.
There's no
or
half
step brothers, right?
Half-
Step brothers would make sense,
No,
right?
half brothers,
Or
same
it's
dad,
half brothers.
same
Half
dad.
brothers, right.
right?
But okay, so we think they're brothers, but the dad's like to find that child. It doesn't even say my son or anything, right?
Well, yeah,
The
but
way
it's
it's-
like one of those like, oh, I'm embarrassed that I have another kid, like
Oh,
I want to.
I guess.
And
I
we
thought
did
it was
have-
just like bad script writing.
Well, we did have this weird conspiracy story that was like, well, why did the black guy kill his mom, right? And we were like, maybe he killed the mom because they didn't give us any reason, right? Maybe they killed the mom because Yoonjae's dad ordered the kill, right?
Oh, that's
and
dude, yeah.
and he was supposed to actually kill both of them, because he didn't want. I think that's crazy conspiracy. That's
That
not
is
true
pretty
at all.
crazy. If it goes that way, that would be very weird.
That would be very weird. But at least to me, that means there was a reason for that stupid scene, right?
Yeah.
And right now there wasn't. But anyways, so we don't know whether they're brothers or not. I really do think that they're brothers. It would explain a lot, obviously, with the whole miracle thing, because Yoonjae's dad, it's an unpublished book. Who else would have that miracle
That
picture,
same book
right?
and Miracle, book cover stuff.
Yeah. So at the very, very end, they're Kyungjun and Darang are finally having happy fun time. They're both going to go to China, and they're being really cute about it. And of course, Kyungjun has this weird, he looks like he's going to pass out, right?
Yeah.
And you see the scene where he flashes back to his original body, and the original body moves, right? It heartbeats. And of course, at this time, and I think we were both agreed, at this time we're like, oh shit.
Yes.
Are they switching back? Are they going to switch back? Because that would be awesome, because that will bring back more spark into this kind of dull
moment.
Dull moment in this drama. And
but
of course,
instead, they do a double switch. I guess like switch back,
not a
switch back.
double
You know.
switch. Yeah, it was just like, oh, you think it's gonna change? Just kidding. It was just like a hiccup. Like he hiccuped.
Yeah, and then it's like, oh, prepare because Yoonjae is coming back, and you're like, no, you shouldn't have said that because then it kind of ruins the rest of the storyline because there could have been so much stuff to happen.
Right, like I really wanted them to switch. I really wanted them to switch because that would have invigorated the podcast, or not podcast. we need something to invigorate this podcast. No, it will invigorate the next episode or two, right?
Yeah.
Because that's what we've been waiting for the whole time, is to either have Yoonjae wake up in Kyungjoon's original body or them to switch back. Like, that's what I've been waiting for. And I really, really thought it was going to happen, and then they backed out and was like, just
I don't know why they backed out. I guess maybe we'll find out in episode 9-10, but I didn't like how they backed out of it.
Yeah, I didn't really like the way it ended. But that brings us to the end, finally, of episode number 8.
We had more dislikes than likes this time through both episodes.
Yeah, I mean, in conclusion, it was just, it was not good. It felt like just repeat. It felt like episode 5 and episode 6 on repeat of like.
Yeah, nothing really happened.
I know. At the end of this, like, episode 6 ended with Mari finding out, and you're like, oh man, this is gonna be awesome. Oh wait, nothing.
Yeah.
Nothing happened.
Oh, that's too bad. Oh well.
But anyways,
I'm waiting to see 9 and 10 now.
Yeah, we're going to try and get 9 and 10 done as quick as possible. You know, we're really trying to catch up. But of course, if you guys didn't know, it was July 4th weekend, you know, in America. So Independence Day, we had a lot of barbecues, and we didn't have that much time to record this podcast. But in case you did not know, though, right before this weekend, we did record a separate podcast, and we're calling that podcast the Korea Plus Podcast. And in this Korea Plus podcast, Kelvin and I are going to discuss Korean entertainment news. We didn't discuss dramas, right? And in our first episode, we discussed like Jo Kwon's solo debut. We discussed Sistar's new song, YG Entertainment, Super Junior, SNSD, and the Wonder Girls. And, you know, if you're tired of us by now talking about Big and you want to hear us like in a shorter podcast talk about just some cool Korean news, you might want to give the Korea Plus episode a chance. We plan to record a Korea Plus episode once every 2 weeks. But if you guys really do like it and you guys want more, we will really consider recording that more frequently because we don't have to write a complicated script for that. And it is actually much faster for us.
And I really enjoy that one, too. I really enjoy recording the Korea Plus edition.
Yeah, we were just afraid that, I mean, both of us actually don't really know that much about Korea entertainment stuff, and we are both so heavily biased towards girls. You know what I mean? And
Sorry,
if you,
guys.
yeah, and if you listen to the Korea Plus podcast, our very first episode, which was released a couple days ago, you will kind of see that.
We try to be, you know, equal and fair, but it's hard.
Yeah, so just, you know, give that a listen. I actually think it was a really good episode, you know, pretty funny. So after that, now is the time where we kind of, you know, beg you for things again. I'm so tired right now, actually. Like, I don't know if you can hear it in my voice, but it's like 2 a.m. right now when we're recording this.
2 a.m.
Hey, it's 2 a.m. Wink, wink.
Hey. Okay, keep going.
But
just making it longer.
We rely heavily on word of mouth, and we've been kind of relying on spamming websites, and we kind of don't like doing that. You know, neither of us do, but how else we're going to get our word out? So if you guys have any friends or you guys belong to any communities and you want to tell somebody about our podcast, we would be really, really grateful if you guys do. We really want to be kind of like the drama beans of podcasts. You know what I mean? Like the go-to place to kind of have fun. Other than that, if you guys want to find us on Facebook, you can find us at After Show Show. You can email us at our email address, which is aftershowshow@gmail.com. You can find us on Twitter at After Show Show. And of course, if you can please subscribe to us via iTunes. We have really good stat management for the iTunes feed, and we kind of base a lot of our, whether or not we even want to keep doing this, you know, if it's worth our time. Based on the iTunes stuff. So if you could please rate and review us on iTunes and subscribe via iTunes, it would be great. So until the next time we record this, which should be soon, I'm Steven.
And I'm Kelvin.
And this is the Asscast Korea. I really hope you enjoy it. We apologize for the length, and we'll see you next time.
Bye bye.
오늘도 나의 하루는 시계처럼 그대 주위를 맴돌았죠. 내일도 나의 하루는 그대 환상으로 채워가죠.
Alright, so episode 7 starts out with Kyungjun realizing, or not Kyungjun, but Marie hugging Kyungjun and realizing that it might Yoonjae. Oh god, I need to start over. Alright.
All right.